Like if you talk to people at Anthropic, we use Claude for literally everything. And our Claudes are talking all day. Like as I'm coding, as my Claudes are coding in a loop, they will communicate over Slack to talk to other people's Claudes that are also running in a loop to kind of figure out unknowns. We have no more manually written code anywhere at the company. All of the SQL is written by models. Everything is just built by the models.
So it's basically LLM plus shell plus file system plus markdown plus cron. And it turns out that's an agent. And every part of that other than the model is something that we already completely know and understand. So that's the architecture. And then it turns out, what is your agent? Your agent is a bunch of files stored in a file system.
They don't think like human beings, that they're really operating over different principles because they are built to mimic human beings, and human beings are not built to distinguish AI systems that work differently from themselves. We have a lot of evolutionary machinery to find fast things that are moving that might be snakes or bugs or lions. We have nothing built into our brain to really help us think about the nature of intelligence. And so people are very easily fooled. We've known it for 60 years, right? Eliza was the first example of an AI system that could fool an average person into thinking it was much more intelligent than it was.
These models do seem to have very robust world models, and they're the best world models we've made to date in AI, right? So what do you think that's missing?
I would disagree with most of the things you just said.
Great.
Just to mimic the what people say is not really to build a model of the world at all, I don't think. You're mimicking things that have a model of the world, the people. Right. But I would question the idea that they have a world model. So a world model would enable you to predict what would happen. Right. They have the ability to predict what a person would say. They don't have the ability to predict what will happen.
Animals are evolved, and they actually come with a huge amount of hardware that's built in. And when, for example, my example in the post was the zebra. A zebra gets born, and a few minutes later, it's running around and following its mother. That's an extremely complicated thing to do. Yeah. That's not reinforcement learning. That's something that's baked in. So in my post, I kind of said, we're not actually building animals. We're building ghosts, or spirits, or whatever people want to call it, because we're not doing training by evolution. We're doing training by basically imitation of humans and the data that they've put on the internet. And so you end up with these like sort of ethereal spirit entities because they're fully digital and they're kind of like mimicking humans. These models, when you boot them up and they have 0 tokens in the window, they're always like restarting from scratch where they were. I feel like when I'm awake, I'm building up a context window of stuff that's happening during the day. But I feel like when I go to sleep, something magical happens where I don't actually think that context window stays around. I think there's some process of distillation into weights of my brain. Yeah. And this happens during sleep and all this kind of stuff. We don't have an equivalent of that in large language models. Yeah. These models don't really have this distillation phase of taking what happened, analyzing it, obsessively thinking through it.
But we have done some research recently about like emotions in Claude. And if you are mean to it, it does activate this like person is being mean to it feature, and it does guide results in some way. But yeah, I am generally like positive for the models. I think in the same way that you should be like, nice to most things.
And there has been one big idea that actually everyone has been locked into, which is the self-improving AI. But I maintain that there is something that's better to build. And I think that everyone will actually want that. It's the AI that's robustly aligned to care about sentient life specifically. It will be easier to build an AI that cares about sentient life than an AI that cares about human life alone, because the AI itself will be sentient. And if you think about things like mirror neurons and human empathy for animals, I think it's an emergent property from the fact that we model others with the same circuit that we used to model ourselves, because that's the most efficient thing to do.
The entire economy is based right now, is hinging on over-attribution of intelligence to these machines, right? You have people betting trillions of dollars that these machines are intelligent in ways that they aren't actually.
So I still think we're in the experimentation phase. We haven't seen a AAA game that tops the App Store charts that was sort of vibe coded yet, right? I've seen, and I've programmed, and I'm sure we've all done little nice demonstrations, and it's like amazing. I can do a prototype of theme park in half an hour now, which took me 6 months back when I was 17. It's kind of mind blowing, but it still needs craft and human sort of soul into it and taste. I think that's something that's you have to make sure you still bring that to whatever it is you're building. And I think it still shows like it's not quite there yet, because why haven't we seen a kid making a hit game that sells 10 million copies, right? That should be possible given the effort that's gone in. So something's still somehow missing.